Arsenal 6 points clear then at the top of the Premier League after victory in the North London derby yesterday. Jamie Carragher was watching at the Emirates. Was that a significant result at the end of a big weekend for Arsenal and also elsewhere?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't just the 3 points. I mean, we normally expect the 3 points for Arsenal when they play at home against any Spurs team, really, in the Premier League era. We've seen that with the stats. But the manner of the victory almost sort of felt like you were watching champions. You know, it's very early in the season, but, you know, the big favourites to go on and win the title. And I think when a team win the league, you're always looking sort of 5 or 6 games you look back on, you know, maybe not so much turning points, but big results, big performances. And that felt like a big one because who it was against.
I'm sure Mikel Arteta will say the challenge is now to back that up. They go to Stamford Bridge on Super Sunday. Could Chelsea establish themselves as one of the challengers if they can get a positive result in that game?
Oh, of course they can. I think there's 6 points in. If they win the game, 3 points off Arsenal. And, you know, we talk, you know, really well of Arsenal this season about how well they've done. If Chelsea can find themselves in a position where they're only 3 points off, when you consider at times it's felt like you're not quite sure about Chelsea at the start of this season. A couple of really poor home results. I think it was Sunderland and Brighton beat them at Stamford Bridge. But I think Maresca, since he's come in, has done a brilliant job. I don't think they've quite got the squad to win a league title. I haven't felt that last season or this season. So I think what the manager did this season, and if he can make Chelsea the biggest challengers to Arsenal this season, that'll be another great season for him.
What about Arsenal's opponents yesterday, Tottenham Hotspur? And they've had 2 significant games, you would say, this season against their so-called rivals in Chelsea and Arsenal. XG in those 2 games, 0.07 and 0.05. Does it feel like they've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other a little bit?
Well, they have a little bit, and a lot of teams do that. They go from one extreme to another when they're changing a manager because, you know, Ange's teams were too open, so we need someone who's maybe a little bit better defensively. And now they're having a problem in terms of scoring goals. Not so much scoring goals, actually, creating big chances. They've really overperformed their XG this season. So I think the worry for Spurs fans is it's not going to be what we've seen at the start of the season in terms of results. It's actually going to get a little bit worse if they fall back on the numbers, as most teams do. This was something we highlighted a few weeks ago after the Chelsea game about Thomas Frank and Spurs. I mean, he's been on the show, friend of the show, on Monday Night Football. But that's the problem for any manager when they're managing at the top level. You know, getting that balance right between defence and attack. The reason managers manage at the top level is that you can do both. You know, and probably you're not asked as many questions when you're the manager of Brentford in terms of what you're going to do going forward. What's the style of football going to be? But listen, I think we should also keep in mind it's very early days in his Tottenham reign, and also he's out without 2 really creative players in Kulusevski and Maddison. But in terms of, you know, what they've been like on the ball and the chances they've created, they have been very poor this season, and that will have to change if Thomas Frank is going to end up being a successful manager for Tottenham.
You spoke there about the balance between attack and defence. It was something you highlighted to Arne Slot on the very first night of the season, despite the fact they'd just beaten Bournemouth. Virgil van Dijk, after that defeat to Forest, said they're in a mess. How big a mess is it and how easily solvable is it?
It is a big mess. I'm not sure how solvable it is because Arne Slot knows a lot more about this team than I do, and he can't quite come up with the answers right now. You know, every Liverpool supporter's out there scratching their head saying, you know, the problem is the recruitment. It's players, obviously, what happened there, you know, the players they brought in the summer. They've obviously got the situation around Jota as well. The manager on the back of winning a league title. It was obvious he wanted his team to be more attacking, better on the eye, more sexy, more goals, if you like, as well. So everybody's trying to look at what they feel it might be. And no one's really got the answer because that guy there hasn't got the answer. And as I said, he's working with those players day in, day out.
You would say that the tradition at Liverpool is to give managers time. At what point does the focus become quite intense on Arne Slot, would you say?
I think any manager who loses 6 games out of 7 in the Premier League, and even if you're the manager of a promoted team, I think the heat would come on you. You know, as a manager, that's the nature of the beast of being a manager, and certainly in the biggest league in the world. But certainly when you're the champions and you've spent a lot of money in the summer, you know, the scrutiny will be even tougher on the manager. But I wouldn't be in that camp whatsoever. No, I mean, we're going to look at this tonight, actually. We've got Roberto Martinez on, top manager, really experienced manager in the Premier League as well, and will have gone through tough times himself. And a similar sort of style of manager as well in terms of how he wants to play the game. So it'll be interesting to get his insight on it. So we're going to have a look at that a little bit more tonight, so I don't want to give too much away now.